Hey everyone, welcome back to another interesting video of iPhone Bloke. And in today's video, we will be helping you understand two important concepts. And these are those concepts which have been constantly asked on YouTube, Instagram, and of course, all my YouTube family members, those who are looking to buy an SUV. Okay, so the first thing first is a question from one of my subscribers wherein he was a bit confused about the difference between SUV, TUV and XUV. So I thought why not to make a video and help him understand the entire difference. And on the same, I've got my homework done as usual, because before every presentation, we as YouTubers sit down, do research and have analysis and make sure that our audience get the best possible serve. Okay. So first of all, I'm gonna start my session by explaining what is SUV, what are the important segments one must have in SUV, and how do you qualify any car into SUV category. So for example, the word SUV stands for Sports Utility Vehicle. Now, Sports Utility Vehicle is a kind of a concept which talks about 50% sports and 50% utility. In a nutshell, if you have a family, let's say kind of a joint family or a nuclear family, you want your family to have both the fun. Let's say if you want to go for a trip, then your particular SUV should be able to carry lots of luggage. So that's utility. On the contrary, you also want to go off-roading, and again in that section, if you happen to have SUV, that can also be fulfilled. So SUV stands for Sports Utility Vehicle, and if you take the entire 2019, 18 and even 2020 survey altogether on Google, it says that in Indian market and of course American market and European market, most of the folks are ended up buying SUV. The reason is they want to have both the worlds, fun, off-roading, and of course utility as well. SUV. Now let's talk about the important criteria, so-called the parameters, which help us understand the concept of SUV. The most important thing in any SUV is a ground clearance. So anyone who is going to make a SUV has to have at least 140 plus ground clearance minimum. Well, there's no such benchmark though, but then this is my personal observation and analysis, and I've been doing, and I think 140 above is what everyone expects to have under any SUV category. That is ground clearance, number one. Number two, your vehicle must be based on monocoque chassis. Now, monocoque chassis is a term which engineers will be able to understand, and those who are structural engineers, because this is a sort of a term which mechanical engineers apply while building a car or building any gadget. So most of the racing cars, if you see Formula One, Ferrari, or let's say the top-notch brands, they tend to be in the category called monocoque chassis. Now, when you have monocoque chassis built in the entire car's platform, what happens is it has got good acceleration. You can easily maneuver your car like a jiffy. You can do crisscross, zigzag, just like a sports car driver. So if the chassis happens to be monocoque, then it has to be a SUV car in the category of SUV, because that is how you define the car's characteristics under SUV criteria. That's number two. Three, if I go with original American terminology of SUV, then you must have a four-wheel drive as well. So when I say four-wheel drive, it talks about the involvement of all four tires in specific regions, let's say mud, sand, rock, and so on. These are the important segments we must have in an SUV to truly call it an SUV in real sense. But then not every SUV in sub 4 compact segment has got these features. But then if you're talking about SUV, four-wheel drive is must as per the parameter of SUV definition, right? And then last but not the least, it has to have a terrific dynamics in terms of handling, right balance, good visibility from the driver's perspective. So these are the definitions one has to have if they want to call a car in the category called SUV. I hope that's clear to one and all. Excellent. Now let's move on to other category, which is known as the TUV. Now TUV is sort of a car, and along with TUV, wherever you have big vehicle, for example Ford Endeavor, or let's say Toyota Fortuner, or any car, let's say even MG Hector, if I'm not wrong. Do correct me in case if I'm giving over here kind of incorrect with MG Hector, because I'm not really sure on that. Most of the bulky cars, those who are heavily built, tend to have a ladder frame chassis. So for example, Bolero, you have Mahindra, not the current one, the previous Mahindra as well. These are some of those cars which are Marazzo are heavily built on ladder frame chassis. Now ladder frame chassis cars are kind of cars, and of course TUV as well, are kind of cars where it's more often than not suited for big family adjustment. You can occupy as much as possible. Even Toyota Innova is also part of ladder frame chassis cars. So they're primarily used for utility vehicles, let's say carrying a lot of people, transportation, and of course if you happen to have a big family. And these cars are not famous for, let's say, driving dynamics or let's say excellent ride and handling. Even though cars are excellent product, Innova is marvelous, Marazzo is fantastic, even TUV is awesome. But then when you talk about real excitement and peppiness in a car, then you get that under any SUV car category if it has so-called monocoque chassis. Now, so these are some of the examples I thought of sharing with one and all. And if you want me to name some of the SUVs where it has monocoque chassis, those are Jeep Compass. You have Jeep Compass. You have Mahindra XUV 300. You have Toyota Brezza. You have Maruti Suzuki Brezza as well. You have WRV. You have these are the common cars, Nissan, for example, even the Kia Sonet, the mini SUVs. They all have a platform called monocoque chassis. On the contrary, so ladder frame talks about primarily Fortuner, Ford Endeavour, Bolero, the previous Mahindra Jeep, if I put it across, the Grand Cherokee, to be very honest with you, the Grand American Cherokee is also part of, let's call ladder frame chassis. So this is the entire in-depth information about the difference between SUV, TUV, and XUV, which is again a very famous subcompact 4-meter car from Mahindra. I hope I have answered all my viewers' questions answered with the help of this video. If you feel I'm adding an excellent knowledge in a knowledge question, then give us a comment, a thumbs up, and subscribe if you feel that we're adding a new and quality information in your digital lives. Thanks for watching.